To continue through each of the following instructional slides, use the pause and play buttons below this window. There are very few point-and-shoot cameras, the ones where you cannot interchange the lens, that will work for this process. Whichever camera you choose, it must have the ability to shoot in aperture priority mode. This is usually indicated on the main dial as AV or A. Please refer to your owner's manual to see if your camera has this feature and familiarize yourself with it. You cannot capture the required photos without this feature. Please familiarize yourself with the basic functionality of your camera. There are many resources available to you, including the camera manual, all available online, as well as YouTube and Google. Here are some examples of point-and-shoot cameras that have the aperture priority, the A or AV option. Each camera has its own unique set of custom functions. Despite all the custom and pre-programmed modes, the basic camera functions remain the same between all cameras. Here is an example of a typical snapshot without the flash. Here's the same photo with the flash on. This is how the photo would look using the HDR fusing technology. We've kept this tutorial as simple as possible. However, we do not expect everyone to grasp this concept immediately. While the initial setup, the first time you do this, may seem a bit tedious, it's really quite simple. And if practiced only a couple of times, it will become second nature. If this is the first time you're setting your camera up for HDR shooting, then start by setting it to its original default settings. These features, as well as most features on the camera, can be found by pressing the button Menu Set. Set your camera on a sturdy tripod. Turn it on and compose your photo. Take care to compose the best possible photo. Remember, what you see is what you get. Set the mode on the main dial to AV or A, depending on your camera. Turn your flash to always off. Set your picture size, or megapixels, to the maximum amount. Set your white balance to AWB, or Auto White Balance. Set your ISO, or sensitivity, to 400. Set your aperture, or f-stop, to the highest number possible. Set the color effects or picture effects to standard or neutral. Set the autofocus mode to cover the entire scene. Do not use any of the other modes, such as face recognition. Set your self-timer to 2 seconds, or 10 seconds if the 2-second option does not exist. Set your AEB, or Auto Exposure Bracketing function, to one-stop increments, -1, 0, +1. Option 1 on some of the better cameras is that you can set your EV+- button, which shifts your middle exposure to -2 if possible. Now you will shoot a -3, a -2, and -1 in your bracketing sequence. If you cannot set your exposure to -2, then either leave your auto bracketing at -1, 0, +1, or expand it out as far as possible. Now press the shutter button all the way down. When the timer is done, 3 photos will be taken automatically. If you choose option number 2, -1, 0, +1, then you're finished shooting. Jump to the end slide in this presentation. If you were able to, and choose option number 1, -3, -2, -1, then you'll get a much better final product. Please continue. Without moving the camera, turn the AEB auto exposure bracketing to off and set the +- button to 0 or the center. Press the shutter button completely with the timer still engaged. 1 photo will be taken. Set your AEB or auto exposure bracketing function to one-stop increments, -1, 0, +1. Set your +- button to +2. So now you will shoot +1, +2, +3 in your bracketing. You may have to increase the ISO sensitivity to 1600 or more if you see the shutter speed is flashing 30 seconds on the menu screen on the back of your camera when you press the shutter button halfway down. If this is going to happen at all, it would typically happen on the last 2 or 3 photos of the end sequence, which you were just about to begin. If this situation arises, delete the photos that you have just taken of this scene only. Then set the ISO sensitivity to the new setting, 1600, and begin the entire sequence again. Press the shutter button completely with the timer still engaged. 3 photos will be taken.